I fear the Democratic Party is at risk of becoming a ghost brand too. Like Sears, it used to be mighty and ascendant and popular. Sears once accounted for 1% of the entire American economy and 41% of the appliance market, and built the country's tallest tower. Democrats once controlled Congress and the Supreme Court, or at least competitive. But now, even at a time when President Trump is turning 250 years of democracy into jeans shorts, the Democrats have their lowest rating in 35 years. I'm just saying, Democrats need to get their shit together because America needs two political parties, not one party and one Halloween store.
Halloween is over, and once again, Bill Maher didn't hold back. In his latest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, he criticized the Democratic Party, saying it's not what it used to be. Maher warned that if they don't get their act together soon, the party could be in serious trouble. Get ready, this one's going to be intense. Let's get into it.
Since it's Halloween, I must tell you all a ghost story, and this one is... And this one is really scary. It's not about the kind of ghost that rattles your chains or turns your lights on and off or, lends a sensual helping hand with your pottery. No, this kind of ghost sells dishwashers. Or at least it did. Yes, I'm talking about a ghost brand. A ghost brand. That's a company or a store that, like Sears, still exists, but only as a pathetic shell of its former self. The brands that make you say, oh, they're still making that? Because they screwed themselves out of relevance, and now their logos haunt us.
Since it's Halloween, I've got a ghost story for you, and this one's truly scary. But it's not about the kind of ghost that makes creepy noises, flickers your lights, or helps you shape clay like in Ghost. No, this ghost is different. It sells dishwashers. Or at least, it used to. I'm talking about ghost brands. These are companies that technically still exist, like Sears, but only as sad shadows of what they once were. They're the brands that make you go, wait, they still make that? They lost their relevance, and now their logos just linger, haunting the marketplace.
I'm talking about brands like Kodak, Polaroid, Radio Shack, GE, Atari, and RCA. They still have value because name recognition is a huge asset, and so is nostalgia. You trust Hitachi to make a magic wand because Mom had one. And let's leave it at that. But it's not where you want to be as a business, barely surviving on old customer habit with just enough juice in the name to still slap it on something and sell it somewhere. That somewhere being a street vendor's table in Chengdu, where you can get a Playboy keychain for $1.
If you haven't guessed who Maher was talking about, his last comment makes it pretty clear. He's referring to the Democratic Party, and it's a sharp observation. When you think about it, the DNC has been strangely quiet in recent years. Aside from a few loud voices like Zoran Mamdani and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, there's hardly any real energy or momentum. The passion that once drove progressives seems to have faded, replaced by silence and political exhaustion. Maher's point goes beyond politics. He's highlighting how the DNC's once strong voice has turned into background noise, leaving people to wonder if the party even knows what it stands for anymore.
The cautionary tale of the ghost brand is an important one because it applies not only to business but also to politics. I fear the Democratic Party is at risk of becoming a ghost brand too. Like Sears, it used to be mighty and ascendant and popular. Sears once accounted for 1% of the entire American economy and 41% of the appliance market, and built the country's tallest tower. Democrats once controlled Congress and the Supreme Court, or at least competitive. But now, even at a time when President Trump is turning 250 years of democracy into jeans shorts, the Democrats have their lowest rating in 35 years, 63% unfavorable. What happened? I don't know. What happened to Sears?
Maher asks the big question, what really happened to the DNC? Their popularity has dropped, and it's not because Trump is destroying democracy, like they often claim. As I've mentioned before, Trump isn't tearing the system apart, he's revealing its flaws. He's exposing how the media has spent years dividing Americans with biased stories and fear tactics. For too long, mainstream news twisted facts about him, turning real policy discussions into emotional fights meant to spark anger. But now, that strategy is backfiring. People are starting to see through it, ignoring the noise, and realizing that the so-called defenders of democracy might have actually been the ones weakening it.
I don't know, what happened to Sears? It used to be synonymous with the American dream because it kept faith with what the customer wanted. Did we love Sears? No, but that was besides the point. You just went. It was like an Avatar movie that sold tools.
That's exactly right. Just like Sears, the DNC stopped giving people, its customers, the American voters, what they actually wanted. Instead, it started catering to a small group of elites and activists who claimed to represent everyone but really only spoke for themselves. Over time, this small but loud group took over the party's message, demanding loyalty and silence from anyone who disagreed. What used to be an open and diverse movement became an echo chamber focused on identity politics and strict purity tests. The DNC forgot that politics is supposed to be about convincing people, not pressuring them. In trying to satisfy a few, it pushed away the many who once believed in its purpose.
If you want to be alone. But you better hurry. Sears used to have 3,500 stores, and now it has 5. Same thing happened to Playboy, except in silk pajamas and a captain's hat.
A few voices within the party have tried to speak up, warning that the DNC was heading in the wrong direction. But instead of listening, the party's leaders dismissed their concerns. When election night came, the DNC faced a major loss, a result of ignoring the gap between their political talk and what everyday Americans actually care about. Now, Maher continues to warn them, calling for honest reflection instead of denial. But the real question is, will anyone in the party finally take him seriously? This might be the DNC's last chance before it fades into complete irrelevance.
For 66 years, Playboy magazine was also a fact of American life. Sears sold your father a mattress, and Playboy was what he hid under it. It was a surefire product, plus real journalism. You could read an interview with Carter while enjoying photos of Bush. But then it started messing around with the formula. Like the Democratic Party, Playboy decided they didn't need straight men anymore. They put transgender women and gay men on the cover, and predictably sales, like their subscribers, collapsed.
That's true. The DNC has lost touch with the winning formula that once made it strong. In the past, the party stood for real liberal values, protecting democracy, boosting the economy, and defending the marginalized without dividing the country. That message brought people together, united by fairness and opportunity. But somewhere along the way, the DNC drifted from those roots. Instead of promoting open discussion and inclusiveness, it fell into the trap of divisive woke politics. What used to be a movement for everyone has become a club only for those who think the right way. In chasing perfection and purity, the DNC forgot a simple truth. Democracy thrives on different ideas, not forced agreement.
The staff began using terms like intersectionality, sex positivity, and privileging. And in response, Playboy readers used terms like no thanks, get the out of here, and bye-bye. At one point, Playboy, yes, Playboy, even dropped the nudity, which is like cigar aficionado announcing, we're getting rid of the cigars. It went from entertainment for men to re-education for nobody, and enlightened their way to unpopularity.
I really like how Maher compares the fall of Playboy magazine to the DNC's current decline. It's clever, funny, and spot on. Both were once powerful symbols of freedom and rebellion, but later gave in to pressure, choosing self-censorship in an effort to stay relevant. Playboy gave up the boldness that made it famous, trading confidence for political correctness, and in doing so, lost its audience. The DNC is now making the same mistake, abandoning its core liberal values to please a small, intolerant minority. But unlike Playboy, the DNC can't just rebrand itself. Politics isn't about image, it's about conviction and purpose. If the party doesn't find its backbone soon, it won't just lose support, it could completely disappear from the political stage.
Recently decided that they felt a little embarrassed that it was so popular with bumpkins who salivate at the sight of an old wagon wheel screwed to the wall. So they changed it to this, which got them no new customers while pissing off the old ones. It reminded me of when Chuck Schumer said in 2016 that for every blue-collar Democrat we lose in western Pennsylvania, we're going to pick up 2 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philly, Ohio, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Yeah, how'd that work out?
And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.